Hi, this is Jason here with Divine Frustrations, and I will be addressing a frustration today that was apparently received from or sent by a member of the Catholic Church. And her frustration has to do with apparently she's referencing, she didn't specifically say, but she did mention that it concerns people who reject the Catholic faith as the one true church. And she made a reference to the verse in the Gospel of Matthew where Jesus told Peter that upon this rock he'll build his church and the gates of hell would not prevail and so forth. So her frustration just has to do with why is it that people recognize the value and the truthfulness of the Catholic Church, but yet they continue to reject it. So, let me be the first to say that there are many things to appreciate and value about the Catholic Church. I happen to teach at a Catholic institution. And so, one of the things that I've come to appreciate about Catholicism is the emphasis on Catholic social teaching as it pertains to trying to make life better for people all over the world. So, there certainly are some things to value about the church, but from my understanding, there are at least two reasons why I believe people are not or choosing not to be affiliated with the Catholic Church. And the first reason is because there are a lot of Christians who have come to Christ, who have believed the gospel, and have given their lives to the Lord outside of the Catholic Church for whatever reason, whatever their experience was. If they believe they've been born again, they've been saved, and their experience is consistent with what is taught in the Bible, well, there's a sense in which I think many of them feel like there's no reason to be affiliated with the Catholic Church. If they've had the gospel experience outside of that, then many of them would not necessarily see the relevance of associating with the Catholic Church. So that's more of a practical reason, because if a person has experienced Christ and God and the scriptures outside of Catholicism, well, that is all the more reason why joining the Catholic Church would not be seen as a necessity. The second reason is more theological, and that is although there are many Christians who may not have studied Catholicism, don't know much about the Catholic Church, there are many others who have. And in the context of studying, learning more about the Catholic Church and the history and the practices and the beliefs, many of them come to believe that there are some things that the Catholic Church teaches and does that do not line up with biblical teaching. So, from a theological perspective, a lot of Christians would have a problem with embracing the Catholic Church as the one true church, because there are things that even to this day the Catholic Church maintains, and yet there appears to be little, if any, support for some of these teachings from a biblical perspective. At least that's the thinking in the lives and in the minds of many Christians. So when you think about different teachings, for example, the way grace is understood, the perpetual virginity of Mary, to purgatory, and the list goes on. There are things that are taught that some people just find problematic. And so from a theological perspective, that would explain why others are not involved with the Catholic Church. And it's also important to note that the Catholic Church has maintained that believers outside of the Catholic Church are regarded as separated brethren. So the lady who sent in this frustration mentioned that, people can't be saved outside of the Catholic Church, but there is a sense in which, the Catholic Church has made some changes and on some of their stances over the years. And so, even how it regards Christians who are not affiliated with the Catholic Church. So, from a practical reason or a practical perspective, there are many Christians who believe they have experienced salvation apart from the Catholic Church, and so therefore would not see a need to join it. And then from a theological perspective, there are things that the church teaches and practices that many believers would find problems with. And so that would be another reason why they don't join it. But even with these two realities, there are still things to appreciate and value about the church and the positive impact that it's had on the world. And so those things should not be forgotten. But at the same time, there are people who have valid reasons for why they are following Christ outside of the Catholic Church. And so what we should do is learn to respect that, to value that, to understand the reasons for that, and to be willing to express empathy as it pertains to, how people see, whether it's the Catholic Church or any other church or religious body for that matter. So hopefully these two reasons and these two explanations can shed some light on the reason why, many Christians have chosen to not affiliate themselves with the Catholic Church.